and you need to climb the mountain to stay at the top of your game. Making money with video games is definitely very possible, but the hard work is not really being talked about.
Come on in.
What's up?
Hello, champion.
What's up, Mr. Sagat?
Come, let's have a round.
The Intel World Open actually meant the biggest to me. Like, we only heard about Olympics, and like big tournaments for sports. Nah, you need to know how to do combos, my friend. Being able to represent my country with my fellow mates is something that I would never dream would have even have a slight possibility of happen 5 years, 10 years ago. This is the only one that's in my mind right now to win.
Let me give you some tips for counter against Sagat. So basically, you need to jump or jump air fireball. This will mix up your offense, and it's really hard for Sagat to anticipate your jump in.
Wow, like from that,
Yep.
that was good.
It's okay. I got a lot.
Leslie is actually one of the best players in Singapore. We have been know each other for 10 years, and since Street Fighter 4 times in the arcade, he has always been one of the best.
I think I first met you in, I still remember the place is Ang Mo Kio Arcade.
Yes.
That's the first time I met you, and I think you are bald-headed. You're still bald-headed.
Yeah, I'm actually serving NS during those times.
Yeah. Your parents, the older generation, they drill this mentality in their kids that there's no future in gaming, and it's really hard back in the days. It really takes a lot of passion and dedication and hard work to become an esports player.
There you go. Thanks for the tips.
In the past, some people may think that gaming is a waste of time, but I think this perspective is changing. You can just relax yourselves. So if you actually twist your wrist, it will go forward, and if you twist back, the other side, it will go backwards.
Nice.
Ooh, there you go. You got it.
There you
You
go.
got it. I still need to get used to it.
The Infinity Glove is a fabric glove embedded with microfiber sensors that enables us to play games using our hand gestures.
How do I move my...
When we first started, we meant to produce the sensors for the patients so that we can track their joint movements when they do their exercises at home. Unfortunately, the global COVID-19 pandemic came and our lab has to be closed down for a few months. During this period, we were thinking how we can pivot the sensors for other applications. That is where we started to look into using the sensors as a gaming glove.
2 in a row. Up, bam. Actually, as a gamer, it's actually faster to shoot like this instead of pressing on the...
That's really good. So that's how we want this to be more intuitive.
There you go, one more palm. I'm so used to this right now. So how does my action replicate the controller?
So what we have here is just one sensor on your index finger for shooting, but we can sensorize the whole hand so that you can have different functions on each of the fingers.
So I can like customize the Shoryuken by doing this? Yes, I can be a world champion again.
Once the sensors can be embedded into any kinds of fabric, this is where the magic can happen.
Great. This is really serious machine.
So with the data, you can see how much you press each button and the duration you spend to pressing each button and how fast you take to press the button.
So this is actually really good for like training purposes. You see what are the stuff you have been doing wrong, like just from the chart. No more excuses for missing the combo. Wow, this is actually really going to the next level.
Malaysia is wrestling with yet another negative side effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. The rates of substance abuse are climbing. Authorities seized 150% more cases in the first 8 months of this year than in all of 2020. Lockdowns have caused former users to relapse and disrupted rehabilitation programs. All the while, drug kingpins remain elusive. Get the story on your next Asia First.
Can I have your order? With cake vanity. That's why you asked me to take a pen and paper. It's very heavy for me.
This is Asia Tonight.
Good evening, I'm Dawn Tan. Tonight's top stories. Violence flares in Myanmar a day after ousted lawmakers declare war on the military. Cell towers have been destroyed as civilian forces step up attacks. A cautious regional response to Afghanistan's new government. Asian nations are calibrating their approach to the Taliban's caretaker lineup. Dozens of inmates killed as a fire rips through an overcrowded Indonesia prison block. There is suspicion an electrical fault may have been to blame. Could Japan have its first female prime minister? That's now a possibility as the leadership race heats up. And renewed unrest in India as farmers protest against controversial agriculture laws. Police brutality is also in focus after allegations emerge.
Hello there, Motelli Edwards. Also tonight, how the pandemic has brought about dramatic change to student life in Hong Kong. Plus, Bangkok is counting on buses to drive up COVID-19 vaccinations.
I'm Elizabeth Neo with your Asia Business Update. Another crackdown on tech giants, and this time in South Korea. Plus, who's at risk as the debt crisis surrounding China Evergrande deepens?
Civilian forces have stepped up their attacks across Myanmar just hours after ousted lawmakers declared a people's war against the military. Yong Wai-kit looks at the uncertain road ahead for both the army and civilian forces.
1, 2, 3.
This is one of 11 telecommunication facilities targeted by civilian forces in Sagaing, central Myanmar. Mytel, which is owned by the military, has become a fast target of the People's Defense Force. That's in line with the ousted lawmakers' call to arms, target the military and its assets. Soon after the so-called National Unity Government called for a nationwide revolt against the army, the streets were filled with these. Though the army immediately dismissed NUG's declaration, it's not taking any chances. Already, security forces are arresting more suspects before they can strike on military targets and assets. Experts say more raids and checks will be made across the country in the coming days. But the announcement of the People's War has emboldened protesters, many openly voicing their support for ousted lawmakers. More civilian resistance groups as well as student unions are also publicly pledging their loyalty to the NUG.
This is kind of like already the last resort because the peaceful protests and the non-violent opposition in many forms, which still continue, have not brought about the results that they had hoped for.
Parts of the country were rocked by violence in the last 2 months, from bombings in big cities like Yangon and Mandalay to armed resistance to military rule in the ethnic states. People we speak to have mixed feelings about their days ahead.
This coup has brought so much loss of hopes to the people of Myanmar, and this announcement has put some sort of glimmer of hopes to the future days to come.
နောက်နေ့ကျရင်တော့နည်းနည်းတော့ပို့ပြီးတော့ကျန်းလာမယ်လို့တော့ထင်တယ်အဲ့အတွက်ကတော့အိမ်မှာကျတော့လူကြီးတွေလည်းရှိအသက်ကြီးရဲ့လူတွေလည်းရှိတော့အဲ့ဒီကိစ္စတော့နည်းနည်းစိတ်ပူတယ်ပေါ့
အဆိုးဆုံးအခြေအနေတော့ကတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ပုံပွင့်လင်းလင်းပါပဲဒီ နောက်ဆုံးအဆင့်ကတော့အိမ်ကိုဆွတ်ခွာပြီးပေးရနိုင်တယ်ပေါ့ပေးရနိုင်တယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့ပြင်ဆင်မှုအတွက်စိတ်ပိုင်းဆိုင်ရာပြင်ဆင်တာလိုရတဲ့ပစ္စည်းတွေဒီလိုတော့ပေါ့ဟိုကိုမဖြစ်ချင်လဲရှောင်လို့မရတော့ဒီအခြေအနေဖြစ်လာတာကိုဖြစ်လာတဲ့အခြေအနေကိုပုံပြီးကျွန်တော်တို့ရင်ဆိုင်မှုပဲရှိတော့တာပေါ့
While it remains to be seen how things will unfold in the near future, experts tell me they don't expect a significant rise in violence anytime soon. One of them